Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be my review for Arrow Season 2, Episode 16, Suicide Squad. And I love this episode because finally, after all these episodes, people have always been saying there's really nothing for Diggle to do. We really didn't hear anything about, Diggle and what he was going to do. But this episode really increased his role in the show. I thought this was a fantastic episode. And I really did enjoy it. I enjoyed the way they did things on the show, and I just thought it was really, really cool the way they advanced Diggle's plot. Let's just jump right into Diggle's plot, because Dig was basically our main focus of the episode. Oliver was more to the side this episode, which I kind of liked. I like that Oliver was a little bit more to the side. That doesn't usually happen. And let's just get to it. So Dig is monitoring the situation. He's worried Slade might try to hurt her to get at Oliver. He's worried about that. She comes out and gives him a cup of cocoa to say thanks. And his ex-wife, Lila, is back in town after her mission to North Korea. As we remember, that was the last episode that Dig really had stuff to do in. And she calls Dig to her hotel room and is clearly interested in some romance. Now then we get a flashback scene. The difference in this episode, though, is the flashback has nothing to do with the island. It actually has to do with Dig and Lila's time in Afghanistan, in the military, which was really cool. Basically, we see that their platoon is protecting some civilians. Lila befriends a woman who tells her about an Afghan drug lord, Gollum Quater, hiding out with the civilians, and Dig and Lila arrest the men. So back in the present, Dig and Lila run into Amanda Waller, one of the higher-ups with secret government outfit Argus, and she needs their help. Quater, who was released from prison a few years ago, has acquired a very dangerous nerve target. The government can go after because that could start a war, and that's obviously not good. So it needs to be a secret team, and Dig needs to be part of it because he has a relationship with Quater. And because he has a relationship with Quater. So Amanda decides to introduce Dig to his team. Deadshot, Bronze Tiger, and Shrapnel. All those characters that we did not know what happened to them, that they didn't catch, ended up being in the Suicide Squad. Dig actually wants no part of working with murderers, but Lila tells him that Oliver and Sarah technically are murderers too because they've killed lots of people, so he's technically already working with murderers. I thought that was actually kind of interesting the way they did that. And then we're in another flashback where Quater is bound and is talking to Dig. When snipers try to shoot the group, Dig throws Quater to the side, and this is how Dig saved his life. And Dig shoots the sniper, and turns out to have been a young boy. So in the fictional land of Markovia, Dig's Suicide Squad team is in place, and Dig accidentally runs into Quater. And Quater tells Dig that Dig changed his life, and Quater says the intelligence he proved the U.S. during the war ended up saving many lived. He just wants to pay back for all the bad things he did earlier in life, and just then a bullet rings out, almost hitting Dig and Quater, and it was Deadshot, and he intentionally, narrowly missed Dig, probably to make Dig look like a wanted man to Quater. So Shrapnel decides he doesn't want to be part of the team anymore. He bolts to what he thinks is freedom in Markovia, but Amanda's there and is prepared for everything. She activates a bomb embedded in Shrapnel's head, and she ends up killing him. So Shrapnel's now dead. So yeah, he's dead. He was the least interesting member. I actually really liked his character in the episode, but he was kind of not that interesting in this episode. So, but still, the plan to get Dig close to Quater has worked, because Dig gets an invitation to a private party at Quater's mansion. So he takes Lila to the high security party, and they use from Fancy Triggery to get Deadshot into the party as well. Deadshot's job is to find the nerve agent and get it out. He finds where it's located, but there's a problem. There's a lot more nerve agent than expected. They tell Amanda they will not be able to carry it out of the building, but she does not care. Now that she has confirmed a nerve agent is actually there, she is called in a Predator drone strike to destroy the nerve agent, and everyone is in the building. Lila and Dig look around and realize that everyone at Quater's party are about to become collateral damage. So Dig and Lila need to figure out a way to get everyone out of the house. Dig taps on a glass to get the attention of everyone in the room. He begins to rail against Quater and tells everyone that there is a nerve agent just feet away from them. The gets scatter at Quater's men approach. As Quater's men approach Dig and Lila, Dig heads out to make sure Deadshot is able to get to safety. Quater pulls a knife on Lila, but Bronze Tiger's there and quickly kills the bad guy. So Dig gets to Deadshot, but does not want to leave. He was ordered by Waller to stay. He was ordered by Amanda to stay, and he knows he is expendable. Dig wants to save the man, but Deadshot actually doesn't mind dying. Deadshot wants to die, especially if he gets to do something honorable in death. So Dig brings up Deathshot's daughter and then convinces the bad guy to flee. However, there's a problem. The problem is that the drone strike was set to a GPS locator embedded in Deadshot's head. So as Deadshot leaves, the drone starts targeting them instead of the house and the nerve agents. And basically we see a Predator drone actually following close behind the car. And at the last moment, Lila gets the GPS out of Deadshot's head, throws it to the road. The Predator blows up the road in an explosion that is just way too small to have taken out the house with a nerve gas. So then Waller tells Dig the mission was a mess. She was able to send in a SEAL team to get rid of a nerve gas, but the whole incident has turned into a diplomatic embarrassment for the U.S., and Dig wants no part of working with Amanda ever again. And then just to end that episode, I really like the way it ended. Basically, Arrow goes to see him. Dig walks Deadshot back to his cell. The two men have come to an uneasy peace, and they aren't enemies anymore. And as Dig leaves the prison, he and Lila embrace, and he says, "I can't ever lose you again," and she agrees. So a nice scene between the two of them. I'm guessing that everything's going to be okay between the two of them now, and I kind of like Dig's storyline in this episode, that it was kind of increased in this episode. That was something that I definitely really enjoyed. Now let's get to the Oliver stuff, because the Oliver stuff was kind of more to the side in the episode. The Slade plot was more to the side in this one. Now Oliver, it starts with Oliver having a bad dream about Shadow being dead. He is in bed with Sarah and gets up to make a phone call, reaches out to his Russian mobster friend Alexei, and he wants to know what Alexei knows about Slade. Alexei wants a favor from Oliver before he will help him. Oliver's not in the mood to give out favors, so he takes down a couple of Alexei's men and then insists the Russian look into Slade's whereabouts. So then what happens is we see that Oliver is worried about Slade, but Felicity convinced him to go out to stop a bank robbery, and he is tying up the robbers. We see Slade watching in the background, wearing his Deathstroke mask. Oliver seems to be able to sense he's there and investigates, and he finds the mask but knows Slade. So then what happens is Alexei gives Oliver some bank account info on Slade. Alexei says he never wants to do business with Oliver again. Felicity uses the bank account to find out where Slade is hiding, and she wants to get Roy and Sarah to go with Oliver, but Oliver says he doesn't want Slade to have other targets. He wants to be Slade's main target. He doesn't want his friends to get in the way of Slade, and I actually really liked Oliver in that scene, because he wants to protect everyone except himself. He's willing to put himself over Slade, because if you remember, him and Slade had that promise that he's gonna ruin his life, and Oliver has accepted that. He wants him to kind of ruin his life. I don't think he wants him to ruin his life. He wants to put himself before everybody else. And Oliver, let me say that wrong. He wants to put everyone else before himself. That's what I meant. He wants to put everyone else before himself. So Oliver's going to go after him alone. When Arrow gets there, Slade is nowhere to be found, but Alexei's dead body is out in the open. He was killed by a single arrow through his eye and his brain, the same way Oliver supposedly shot Slade years ago on the island. Probably how, Slade lost his eye was from Oliver's arrow. So Oliver goes back to his hideout and finally reaches out to Sarah, and I actually really like this scene between the two of them. He does not want to do what Sarah seems. He does not know what to do because because Slade seems to have planned it for everything. Oliver's despondent. He's worried Sarah will get hurt, and she assures him she's strong and says that will be better suited to take down Slade if they work together. And Oliver finally agrees and melts into her arms. I actually really like that scene between the two of them. It was a very nice way to I really enjoyed that scene. And that's pretty much all we got of, Oliver in this episode. Kind of a letdown because it mainly focused on the Diggle stuff. And I will say this was not the best episode of the season, but I like that they focused more on Diggle in this episode because people have been wanting that for a while. And then to end the episode, we get this huge twist. We actually find out that Arrow goes to see Amanda, and they actually have a history, and she tells her that Slade is alive, and she's very surprised because she thought Oliver killed Slade years ago. Arrow wants Amanda's help tracking down Slade, and she says there's a special assassin she has been tracking, and his name is Deathstroke, which we know is Slade. So it's going to be very cool to see what happens here. Especially once Oliver finds out that Slade is Deathstroke. He does not know that Slade is Deathstroke yet. He's going to find out eventually. It's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen here, definitely. I think, I really enjoyed this episode, but I also didn't enjoy it. The one thing that I loved was we got to see, Diggle's plot increasing. Dig had a lot more to do in this episode. What I didn't like about this episode was Oliver barely had anything to do. And that was kind of upsetting, especially when your main hero is Oliver. Give him some shit to do, seriously. It was more about... I did really like that scene between him and Sarah, though. It was a very effective scene. They're going to work together. And next week, it has nothing to do with Slade. Next week, it has to do with Birds of Prey, which I'm looking forward to. But at the same time, I think it's going to be kind of silly to do that. Because we should be focusing on taking down Slade, not all this other shit that doesn't matter right now. The main focus should be taking down Slade, not Birds of Prey. However, this episode was still good. Was it the best episode of the season? No, it was not even close. I thought the last episode was a lot better than this one. This one was still good. I felt like it was a bit of a letdown with the Oliver stuff. That's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed it. What is going to happen with Amanda and Oliver? Is she going to find out that Deathstroke is Slade? I think Oliver's going to find out that Deathstroke is Slade as well. Something's going to happen there. What's going to happen with Dig? Did you like his increased role in this episode? I enjoyed it. But that's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for the Vampire Diaries. So I will see you for that. Bye!